Hi Zamrez, are you there?
Yes.
You joined early today.
Joined at 11. I joined at 10:30.
Timing was 11. No, 11 to 12 today, Saturday. I am not able to hear you. Zamrez, note down somewhere. You have 2 days weekdays class with me, right? Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday and Thursday is from 10:30. Okay. Saturday is from 11. None? Clear? I'm not able to hear you. Zamrez. Zamrez, I'm not able to hear you. Are you saying something?
No. Now can you hear me, ma'am?
Yeah, now I can. What happened to your microphone?
I don't know.
Chalo, you're feeling sleepy already. Can we start today's class?
Yes.
So we'll start with breathing today. We'll talk about breathing, mechanism of breathing, and types of respiration. These are the three topics we will be covering today. Clear? So you know that what is breathing? Breathing is the process of inhalation and exhalation of gas or air, whatever you call it. Okay? And the two processes involved are inhalation and exhalation. When we inhale the air which is rich in oxygen. And when we exhale the air that is rich in carbon dioxide. Clear? So now we will be talking about mechanism of breathing. How do we breathe? I'll share an animation with you. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Zamrez, can you hear the audio? Zamrez, can you hear the audio?
The plate, ma'am.
Yeah, I played for 2 seconds. Again, you hear and let me know.
In two stages.
Yes.
1. Inspiration.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes. Now I can hear it. Now I can't hear it.
Zamrez, give me a minute.
উবারে সিট বুকিং স্ট্রাগলের সময় না বাসের ভেতর সিট ধরা চক্করে ঠেলা ঠেলি গুঁতো তার জন্যই তো এত সলিড হয়েছে জানো।
এখন চাই না আপনার
Who
ঠেলা
made that?
স্ট্রাগলের দিন গেছে বেড়ো
বৈশাখ
Zamrez, now I will share the video. Just a second. Why cannot I? Just a second. Share sound. Yeah.
Respiration occurs in two stages. 1. Inspiration, during which atmospheric air is drawn in. And 2. Expiration, in which the alveolar air is released out. The movement of air into and out of the lungs is carried out by creating a pressure gradient between the lungs and the atmosphere. When the air pressure within the alveolar spaces falls below atmospheric pressure, air enters the lungs, resulting in inspiration. That is, there is a negative pressure in the lungs with respect to atmospheric pressure, provided the larynx is open. Similarly, expiration takes place when the air pressure within the alveoli exceeds atmospheric pressure. Air is blown from the lungs. The flow of air is rapid or slow in proportion to the magnitude of the pressure difference because atmospheric pressure remains relatively constant. Flow is determined by how much above or below atmospheric pressure the pressure within the lungs rises or falls.
Alveolar fluctuations are caused by expansion and contraction of lungs resulting from tensing and relaxing of the muscles. Inspiration is initiated by the contraction of diaphragm, which increases the volume of thoracic chamber. In the antero-posterior axis, in the contraction of external intercostals, muscles lifts up the ribs and sternum, causing an increase in the volume of thoracic chamber in the dorsoventral axis. The overall increase in the thoracic volume causes a similar increase in pulmonary volume. An increase in pulmonary volume decreases intrapulmonary pressure, which is less than atmospheric pressure, which forces the air from outside to move into the lungs. That is, inspiration. Relaxation of the diaphragm and intercostal muscles, returns the diaphragm and sternum to their normal positions and reduce the thoracic volume and thereby the pulmonary volume. This leads to an increase in intrapulmonary pressure to slightly above the atmospheric pressure, causing the expulsion of
Clear?
Very complicated words.
I will make it simple for you now. Just remember the diagram. Just imagine the situation now. Now I will make it very easy for you. Just a second. Will you do activity with me? Zamrez, put a hand on your chest. Like, put it deep in your chest. And now take a deep breath. Okay, can you dig your index finger of another hand below your lungs, if you can feel that part, below the ribs? Okay, can you put it in? Can you put the finger in and put one hand on your chest? Now take a deep breath. What can you feel? Exhale. Now exhale. Now talk. What are the changes that you can feel?
The body expands.
The body expands.
Diaphragm
You can see
expands.
here is your ribs, right? You know what's a rib? So what is the change that happens in the rib? Inhale again and feel it.
If I inhale, it moves upward and outward, and then when I exhale, it moves inward and downward.
Very good. That is the first change you have to remember. Ribs were lifted up. First change. Second change. What did the picture show? You can see that there is a muscle here. Let me draw.
With the diaphragm,
Yes, the diaphragm.
that could it contracted and moved up, and when I exhale, it relaxed and moved down.
So it moved down. When you inhale, the diaphragm moves down, right? Right? And what happened to the ribs? Just a second. What happened to the
upward and outward?
It moved upward. So what happened? Now suppose this is a chamber. Now suppose this is a chamber like this. What happens to the chamber? The chamber will increase, or the chamber's volume will increase or decrease? You're making the area big, right? You're lifting the ribs up, pulling the diaphragm down. Will the volume within the enclosed chamber will increase or decrease? Zamrez. I'm not able to hear you, Zamrez.
Increase.
Increase, yes. So when the volume increase, what will happen to the pressure? Think about it. What happens to the pressure?
When there's more volume, there'll be less pressure.
Very good. So inside pulmonary, what do you mean by thoracic pressure will be less? Your chest part is your thorax, okay? So the thoracic pressure will be less? Yes or no?
Yes.
Inside, and what about outside the thorax? Environmental air pressure is more? And things move from higher pressure to lower pressure. So air will move from outside towards the inner side. Right? So
Mhm.
when your ribs is lifted up and your diaphragm moves down, your lungs get space to expand. So your lungs will expand. And when your lungs expand, the space, the pressure within the lungs decreases. So interpulmonary pressure decreases as compared to the external pressure. During that time, air will move from higher pressure to lower pressure. So you will inhale. Clear? Clear? Can you read the paragraph?
The diaphragm moves down the ribcage and expands. This leads to expansion inside the lung as well. As a result, the air moves into the lungs. This process is called inspiration or inhalation. The
Clear?
diaphragms move with the
Bus. Clear?
yes.
What will happen in the exhalation process? Now understand. Put your hands again on your chest. Take a deep breath and then exhale. So what happens? Ribs take its normal position. It will come down. What about the diaphragm?
Drop and relax, contracts.
It will again move down. It will take its position.
It moves down and then it will contract.
Contract, yes. So what will happen to the space inside? The space will reduce,
There will be more pressure inside.
creating more pressure on the lungs.
Yes.
Lungs have more pressure as compared to external environment. So what will happen? Air will move from higher pressure to lower pressure. So you will exhale. Clear?
Yes.
Now there's a term given, intercostal muscle, in the video that you heard. Now what is intercostal muscle? Uh, intercostal muscle is the muscle between the ribs that helps in the movement of the ribs. Okay? Contraction of the intercostal muscle helps to lift up the rib, and relaxation will allow the ribs to come down. Clear?
Yes.
Can I play the video again?
No, I understood it. Actually, yes.
Okay. Just a second. Stop sharing. Where is the option?
Mechanism of breathing. Respiration occurs in two stages. 1. Inspiration, during which atmospheric air is drawn in. And 2. Expiration, in which the alveolar air is released out. The movement of air into and out of the lungs is carried out by creating a pressure gradient between the lungs and the atmosphere. When the air pressure within the alveolar spaces falls below atmospheric pressure, air enters the lungs, resulting in inspiration. That is, there is a negative pressure in the lungs with respect to atmospheric pressure, provided the larynx is open. Similarly, expiration takes place when the air pressure within the alveoli exceeds atmospheric pressure. Air is blown from the lungs. The flow of air is rapid or slow in proportion to the magnitude of the pressure difference, because atmospheric pressure remains relatively constant. Flow is determined by how much above or below atmospheric pressure the pressure within the lungs rises or falls. Alveolar fluctuations are caused by expansion and contraction of lungs resulting from tensing and relaxing of the muscles. Inspiration is initiated by the contraction of diaphragm, which increases the volume of thoracic chamber. In the antero-posterior axis, in the contraction of external intercostals, muscles lifts up the ribs and sternum, causing an increase in the volume of thoracic chamber in the dorsoventral axis. The overall increase in the thoracic volume causes a similar increase in pulmonary volume. An increase in pulmonary volume decreases intrapulmonary pressure, which is less than atmospheric pressure, which forces the air from outside to move into the lungs. That is inspiration. Relaxation of the diaphragm and intercostal muscles returns the diaphragm and sternum to their normal positions and reduce the thoracic volume and thereby the pulmonary volume. This leads to an increase in intrapulmonary pressure to slightly above the atmospheric pressure, causing the expulsion of air from the lungs. That is expiration. On an average, a healthy human breathes 12 to 16 times per minute. The volume of air involved in breathing movement can be estimated by using a spirometer, which helps in clinical assessment of pulmonary functions. In man, diaphragm plays a major role in respiration, while in women, the ribs play a major role. Rate of respiration in human beings changes with age. The rate of respiration also changes during emotional disturbances, exercises, and other activities. Rate of
Clear, Zamrez? Now you will do one work. I have done mine. Immediately you will open the chat box and write the difference between breathing and respiration. Now. If you're writing in Word, take a snap of it and post it in the chat box, okay? No need, okay. I need more.
Humans
Next question.
of humans.
Explain the mechanism of breathing.
Of humans.
Of humans, yes. You will write the steps of inhalation, exhalation, steps. What happens? Zamrez, by your own, huh? Let me add this tagline for you. By your own. You will give a heading of inhalation. Okay. Then you will write changes happening in the intercostal muscle, in the ribs, in the diaphragm, and the pressure difference. You have to cover all these points. Okay. Zamrez, modify your answer. Delete the chat. Delete the chat. Can you? Can you delete it?
Yes, it is deleted it.
Yeah. So how will you write? First, you will write about the movement of the rib and the movement of the intercostal muscle, because of which the pressure in the lungs and there is expansion of lungs. These 3 points you have to write first. Then due to which the pulmonary pressure drops. Correct? Because of the increase of lung volume. That is why, but the external pressure is more. So air moves from higher pressure to lower pressure, we inhale. Then the reversal will be exhalation. Please write it in the same sequence. Zamrez, exhalation. That is incomplete. Zamrez, what did I tell you? You have to write. Why? Is it a complete answer?
No, I'm still writing it.
Okay, fine. You first frame the answer and let me know. And you have not written about why the pressure drops. You have to write the ribs move upwards, the diaphragm moves downwards, and the lung expands. Due to expansion of lungs, the pulmonary pressure decreases. This should be your statement. Please reframe your answer. Please reframe. Zamrez, one answer cannot take so much of time. Write fast. What are you doing, Zamrez?
Father's asking me if I attended the class.
Sorry?
Father's asking me if I'm attending this class.
Okay, once you are done, please start writing and finish the answer. I have to move to the next segment.
I'm still writing it.
Write it. I am waiting. Very good. And then the next process, exhalation. What happens to the chest pressure or pulmonary pressure? Okay. Now I will give you the perfect answer, Zamrez. Can you read the answer? Fast. Zamrez, read it quickly.
Use ChatGPT.
No. Read it quickly, Zamrez. I don't have time. Done? Done? Yes or no? No. Quickly, quickly. Done, right? Zamrez, it cannot take so much of time. Fast. Done reading?
Yes.
I hope the concept is clear.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Why do you guess? You're not sure.
I am sure.
Chalo, now we will be talking about the types of First, we'll talk about the features of respiration. Quickly, can you go through it? You already know about it.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
there's something I have to point out. This is very bad. It's one of the worst mistakes ever.
What happened?
I'm missing an L here.
Acha, fulfill FILL.
That's the worst mistake. The L must be so sad that it's like okay.
You are done reading? All clear?
Yes.
Now moving into the types of respiration. Now respiration are of two types, aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerob means oxygen. Okay. So when a respiration takes place in presence of oxygen, that type of respiration is known as aerobic respiration. This happens in majority of the organisms. Like in us, we also do aerobic respiration. Okay, clear? So when a glucose is broken down in presence of oxygen, that is known as aerobic respiration, and maximum amount of energy is obtained when we do a aerobic respiration. We get 38 ATPs, actually not 38, 36. We get 36 ATPs when we do aerobic respiration. Clear? Clear? And all higher organism like plants, animals, advanced organism will undergo aerobic type of respiration. Now moving on to the next segment is the anaerobic respiration. An means devoid of. So when a respiration takes place without oxygen. So when oxygen is absent in the medium and still the food is broken down, at that time, that kind of respiration is known as anaerobic respiration. Now, this kind of respiration is very common in case of bacteria. You have heard of a bacteria known as sulfur bacteria? Can you just Google the picture of a sulfur bacteria? Can you see? You've seen, right? Picture.
Looks big.
This particular kind of bacteria uses sulfur to break down their food. They don't use oxygen. Okay. So likewise, another organism is yeast. You have heard of a concept called fermentation? Have you heard of a concept? Your mother uses the same concept every day while using idli.
I eat idlis. Those ones better.
You've never tasted idli.
Have, but then those ones are better.
Okay, bread, sandwich.
In a while since I went in a sandwich.
You don't like sandwiches. Anything
I
that
do like
entails fermentation, you will not like it.
dosa.
Dosa. Okay. In dosas also. You like cakes? In cakes
Yes.
also the same concept is used. Okay. Fermentation is a property of yeast. During fermentation, alcohol is produced and carbon dioxide. Okay. And this fermentation is happening in absence of oxygen. Clear? Clear? In our body also anaerobic respiration takes place.
Muscles. What is lactic acid?
Muscles, yes. When we suddenly start doing exercise, we feel cramps. You have heard of muscle cramps. Muscle cramps happen due to lactic acid, formation of lactic acid. That happens in now glucose is broken down in a different way without oxygen to produce lactic acid. Clear? Clear? Now, please read this difference.
Use oxygen in the process. Anaerobic respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen. This process glucose is fundamentally broken down into CO2 water along with the release of energy. This process glucose to alcohol to energy. It occurs in all organisms like mammals. It usually occurs in those organisms like yeast and bacteria. It occurs in muscles or higher organisms like activities. Glucose plus oxygen equals carbon dioxide plus water plus energy. Glucose gives rise to ethyl alcohol, carbon dioxide, and energy.
Can you just write down one more difference? It is not written here.
Aerobic respiration doesn't have the laboratory and anaerobic respiration is energy.
Clear? Why is it called wasteful process, Zamrez?
There's not much edit is produced.
But the product is but the thing used is the substrate used is the same. Glucose is very important to us. You're breaking down glucose but producing 2 ATP. Not beneficial for us. Clear? Clear? Can we go into the question answer segment? Solve this.
Breathe your lungs take in oxygen and remove carbon dioxide. B, 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 B.
Next.
Air sacs are covered with capillaries or gaseous exchange is called
What does the diagram show? What are words?
alveoli.
Next.
Larynx. Diaphragm.
Tell me.
Ah,
What is the passage?
D,
Hmm?
D.
Okay, one thing that we did not talk of, from here only we will talk of. We will talk about human respiratory system. Chalo, let us not take this slide. I will take a previous. I'll take a better slide to explain you this. I'll take this to explain you human respiratory system. Now, human respiratory system starts with your nostrils, these two. Okay, just behind nostrils, somewhere here is your nasal cavity. This is your buccal cavity, by the way. This is your mouth cavity. Don't get confused. This is your buccal cavity. Okay. And this one is your nasal cavity. And what does nasal cavity have? Nasal cavity is lined by hairs.
Yes.
And what does this hair do?
They're like prevent like
What is
that dust fermented.
it? Trap the dust. Yes. Okay. Now you feel your breathing out air. Feel it in your hand. Is the temperature hot of the air blown out?
Yes.
And is it little moist? Is there humidity in the air that you have exhaled? Little moisture is there. Can you feel the moisture?
Feel moisture.
Do one thing, after some time, after the class is over, you exhale in your air for a long period of time. You will feel that your hands are sweating. You will feel water-like texture in your hand. Little
Oh,
stickiness.
yes.
So there is humidity in the air. The exhaled air has humidity. Do you know why?
Because there's mucus.
There is mucus in the nasal cavity. There is mucus in the nasal cavity. It is lined by mucus and hair-like projections. Clear? Now moving on, the hair now will move into the pharynx or larynx.
The pharynx.
First, it will move into the pharynx, followed by the larynx.
Larynx.
Larynx, yes.
I want to say it in a way that that pharynx and larynx sound.
Now, larynx is the voice box. Why is it called the voice box?
Because of this.
The voice that you're producing.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Now, I'll tell you the mechanism later. Now, followed by larynx is your windpipe, which is called the trachea. Okay. Now, trachea is lined by C-shaped cartilaginous cells here. They have.
And they prevent the breakdown of something.
Sorry?
They prevent like the breakdown of trachea or something.
Correct. They have C-shaped cartilage cells. Cartilage. Now, what does it help? It prevents sorry, prevents
collapsing of
collapsing
trachea.
of trachea. What do you mean by this line?
Sorry. So what I'm saying is that the
Suppose this is your
cartilage is to
trachea.
prevent the trachea from collapsing. It
What do you
makes it
mean by collapsing? A pipeline cannot break.
like it holds it. It makes
Yeah.
it stable. Makes it straight.
Can you see this? Just a second. Can you see this?
Yes.
This is suppose your trachea. And I am covering this with C shape, like half. Backside is free. I'm covering it with C-shaped cartilaginous rings. Okay. So when air is inside, obviously this is inflated. Now, when suddenly you are exhaling, what will happen? There is a chance that it can stick. The walls can stick to each other, right? Correct? We don't want that. You will then choke and die. But if there is something that holds on to the two walls, so what will happen? The walls will never stick to each other. Clear? That is collapsing. So the C-shaped cartilaginous rings do not allow the two walls to meet. They always keep it apart so that your nasal passage is always clear.
Understood.
Okay. Now, followed by, after your windpipe, it has the trachea divides into two branches called the bronchus or the bronchi. There also they have this C-shaped cartilaginous rings. Okay. Bronchi divide into bronchioles. They also have it. After bronchioles, C-shaped cartilaginous ring is absent. Bronchiole further divide into bronchiolus. So these are the bronchiolus. Now bronchiolus further extend into sac-like or balloon-like structures called alveoli. Alveoli is the site of gas exchange. Okay. Now each of these alveoli, if you see the diagram given here, if you see each of the alveoli are richly supplied by blood vessels, right? Now blood vessels will have blood in it. Blood will have hemoglobin. So the moment oxygen reaches the alveoli, what will happen? The hemoglobin will trap all the oxygen and instead release the carbon dioxide. Correct? So when you are exhaling the oxygen-rich carbon dioxide. Clear? Clear, बच्चे? Just a second. दादा मी क्लास है. What is happening to my laptop today? No, moving on to the next question. Answer this, please.
Given equation represents glucose plus oxygen gives rise to carbon dioxide plus water as energy. X is water. And what all options are A?
Just a second, just a second. Carbon dioxide.
Ma'am, it's actually, ma'am, like we're going to say the answer is option A.
The option is A, water. That's obvious. There is nothing else left.
But then all the options are A.
All the options are
A, look at them. Like A, water, A, liquids.
you let it be. You give me the correct answer. Next question.
Shalini took some freshly prepared lime water in a test tube to understand the black trend and add the plastic straw lime. I have done this. Which technique currently says that lime water will turn milky, indicating the presence of carbon dioxide in air. Yes, that's correct. The lime, it's air.
Yeah.
Upward movement of the ribs. Wait. Yeah. Upward movement of the ribs.
A?
Upward movement of the ribs.
A, right?
Yeah.
Next.
After running a very fast for about half an hour, Rahul started feeling pain in the legs. The pain in Rahul's legs is caused by accumulation of which substance? Lactic acid. B.
Thanks.
Bye, ma'am. Thank
Okay, bye bye.